I was driving down here today, and I looked to my left, and somebody was putting mascara on, driving down the highway. And I thought to myself, where's a cop when you need one? There's never a cop around when somebody's doing something crazy. And that's a distraction just like anything else. For instance, I see people tweezing their eyebrows, reading the newspaper, driving with their knees, kids jumping around in the back seat of the car, reaching around into the back seat, lights on inside the car. We can name a ton of distractions that could potentially be happening when somebody's operating a vehicle. I've never been in or near a car where someone's text messaging and had any concern about the distraction that it was causing. Now, that could just be me because I feel comfortable with it, but it's never stood out as something that I've noticed. However, text messaging is the only distraction that's now been made into a law, and it's a primary offense which leads to a $50 fine. Text messaging use is up nearly 50% in the last 2 years, over $196 billion per month. Just 10 years ago, it was only $250 million. The number of licensed drivers, however, has been fairly consistent. So, logic tells you the law of averages indicates that if you are using more text messages with the same number of people, the risk's going to be higher. In April of 2012, it's actually Distracted Driving Month, just to bring awareness to the distractions that could potentially cause risk when you are driving. That's when the law was created to turn text messaging into a primary offense, leading to the $50 fine. Laws do vary state from state, and as of right now, there is no federal law indicating that text messaging while driving is a crime. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration indicates 33,000 deaths related to traffic accidents happened in 2010. Less than 1% of Americans handle electronic devices, 20 times that talk on the phone. So text messaging isn't even the most often used feature when people are driving. There are estimates of 24% of all crashes involving cell phone use as per the National Safety Committee. No factual data, however, could be located. These are all estimations. It's nearly impossible to prove cell phone use. So for instance, I could send a text message when I'm at a stoplight, but still have the phone in my hand, get pulled over. By the time I get pulled over, was I or wasn't I sending that text message at that time? There's no way to prove that. You can't pull records by second, and it's not illegal to send a text message when at a stoplight, at a stop sign, or pulled on the side of the road. Everything that I found online was an estimation of how many accidents were actually caused by cell phone use. So creating a law isn't the only answer. There's plenty of other opportunities to educate about the distractions that are on the road, not just text messaging. Funding can be allocated to education on the impacts of texting, for instance, using simulators in the high schools when we do driver ed. Also, when you do your permit or your driving tests, they can do simulators or educate the people who are learning to drive how the danger of text messaging could be impacting. And also, when mobile phone retailers are selling phones to people, to the public, they can educate or even put a simulator in the store to educate on how the distraction could be impacting. Friends and family that I surveyed indicate 25% try to hide their phone when they are sending a text message or when they have their phone in their hand while they're driving. So this indicates to me that it would be safer not to have that law in place, because you could potentially have the phone up higher if you are sending or looking at a quick text message when you are slowing down, coming to a stop. Instead of trying to hide it, potentially putting it down further, potentially taking your eyes off the road for a longer period of time. Laws are made to create fear, not change. This was the same when they implemented the law for wearing seatbelts. I still don't know 100% who wear seatbelts every time they drive. However, 86% was the number I found online who now comply with that law, and it's because of the education and the law that was created, not simply creating a law. So my stance is education is critical. Laws are not the most effective way to create change, and it's imperative that we all avoid using our cell phone while we are driving. However, it's also imperative that we don't create laws that are unnecessary allocations of financial costs to the government.
That's it.
Do we have you all?